The automated buoy floated in the darkness of space for 300 years. It had no crew. It needed none. Its only purpose was to deliver a message, and it had done so to 17 different species. 15 of them turned back. 2 did not. Those 2 no longer existed. Today, the buoy detected new visitors. Fleet Admiral Garvos Hennick watched the strange object appear on his tactical display. His flagship, the Unyielding Fury, led a formation of 400 Dominion warships. They were the finest vessels in the galaxy, crewed by the most disciplined soldiers, commanded by officers who had never known defeat. "What is that thing?" Garvos asked. His navigator, a young officer named Brell, studied his instruments. "It appears to be some kind of beacon, Admiral. It is broadcasting a message." "Play it." The bridge speakers crackled. Then a voice spoke in perfect Dominion standard language. "You are approaching Terran protected space. Turn back. This is your only warning. Enter and die." Silence filled the bridge. Then Garvos laughed. "That is their defense?" A threatening message. He turned to his tactical officer, Subcommander Yillis. "What do we know about these Terrans?" Yillis pulled up the intelligence reports. "They control 12 star systems, Admiral. A small civilization. They call themselves humans. They emerged approximately 400 years ago, but have shown no interest in expansion." 12 systems. Garvos shook his head. "We control 2,000. They dare to threaten the Dominion." "Admiral," Brell said quietly, "there are more buoys. Many more." The display updated. Thousands of warning beacons stretched across the border of Terran space. They formed an unbroken line that extended farther than their sensors could detect. Yillis frowned. "That is a significant investment for such a small civilization. Maintaining this many beacons would require substantial resources. Perhaps they spent their entire budget on warnings instead of weapons," Garvos said. "A foolish choice. All ships, forward. Destroy any beacon in our path." The fleet moved. Dominion weapons fire vaporized a dozen buoys as they crossed the invisible border. Garvos watched with satisfaction. Let these humans see what happened to those who threatened the Dominion. Then every sensor on every ship went dark. 3 seconds passed. The lights returned. All systems reported normal function. "What was that?" Garvos demanded. "Unknown, Admiral," Yillis answered. Her voice carried an edge of concern. "All ships report the same phenomenon. A simultaneous sensor blackout lasting exactly 3 seconds. Damage? None detected." Garvos stared at the empty space around them. Nothing had changed. No enemy ships appeared. No weapons fired. Just that strange 3-second darkness, and then nothing. "They are trying to frighten us," he decided. "Primitive tricks." Continue to the nearest colony world. The fleet pressed deeper into Terran space. Their target was a planet called New Wisconsin, an agricultural world with a population of 2 million. Easy prey for the Dominion war machine. As they traveled, Yillis reviewed the intelligence files again. Something bothered her about the data. These humans had possessed faster-than-light technology for 4 centuries. In that time, the Dominion had conquered 800 worlds. The humans had settled only 12. Why? Any species with FTL capability should expand. It was the natural order. The strong grew stronger. The weak were consumed. This was the law of the galaxy, proven across 10,000 years of history. Yet these humans sat in their tiny corner of space, surrounded by warning buoys, making no attempt to claim the vast territories available to them. "Admiral," Yillis said carefully, "perhaps we should send a diplomatic vessel first. Learn more about these Terrans before committing our full force." Garvos turned to her with cold eyes. "Are you afraid, Subcommander?" "I am cautious, Admiral. We know nothing about their capabilities. We know they control 12 systems. We know they hide behind warning signs like frightened children. We know they have never fought a war against a major power." Garvos smiled. "We will teach them what the Dominion does to those who make threats they cannot support." Yillis said nothing more. She had served under Garvos for 15 years. She knew when his mind was set. The fleet traveled for 16 hours. As they approached New Wisconsin, Brell reported something unexpected. "Admiral, I am detecting no defensive formations. No military vessels. The planet appears completely unprotected." Garvos leaned forward. "They did not even try to defend themselves?" "It appears not, sir. Fools. Absolute fools." The Admiral opened a channel to all ships. Prepare for standard planetary subjugation. We will. A new transmission interrupted him. A human female appeared on his display. She had dark skin, gray hair, and calm eyes. She wore simple civilian clothing. Dominion Fleet. This is Ambassador Priya of the Terran Republic. You have entered protected space. You have 6 hours to withdraw to neutral territory. Coordinates for safe retreat are being transmitted now. Garvos stared at her. You are giving us 6 hours to run away? Yes. And if we refuse? The ambassador's expression did not change. Then you will learn why no one enters Terran space. Please, Admiral. Choose to leave. We do not want war. Garvos cut the transmission. He laughed again, but this time the sound felt hollow even to his own ears. Prepare orbital bombardment, he ordered. If they will not fight, they will burn. Somewhere in deep space, the warning buoys continued their endless broadcast. The message was simple. The message was clear. Enter and die. The Dominion had entered. Now they would learn. The last tomato of the season hung heavy on the vine. Governor Patricia Holloway had grown it herself in the small garden behind her office. She had planned to pick it this evening, share it with her grandchildren, celebrate another successful harvest year on New Wisconsin. Now the tomato would have to wait. How long until they reach orbit? She asked. Defense Coordinator Sam Reeves checked his display. 4 hours. Maybe less if they push their engines. Patricia nodded slowly. She was 63 years old. She had governed this colony for 12 years. She had seen droughts, plagues, and economic crises. She had never seen war, but she had trained for it. Activate Lighthouse Protocol, she said. Sam made the call. Within minutes, sirens began to sound across every settlement on New Wisconsin. But these were not sirens of panic. They were signals of organized action. Across the planet, 2 million humans moved with practiced efficiency. Families gathered essential supplies. Children helped elderly neighbors. Ground vehicles transported people to underground shelters built deep beneath the surface. Mixed among the humans were other species. Blue-skinned Valori refugees. Four-armed Kashan families. Survivors of Dominion conquest who had found safety in Terran space. They moved alongside their human neighbors, following the same evacuation routes, heading for the same shelters. Priority to the refugee communities, Patricia ordered. They know what the Dominion does to conquered peoples. They must not fall into enemy hands again. Sam coordinated the defense grid activation. Orbital platforms powered up. Ground-based weapons systems emerged from hidden bunkers. It was not much compared to the Dominion fleet, but it would buy time. Ambassador Priya had already delivered the warning. 6 hours to withdraw. Patricia knew the Dominion would not take the offer. They never did. Species like the Dominion only understood one language. Humanity spoke that language fluently. They simply preferred not to. Evacuation at 60%, Sam reported. Shelters holding steady. Shields online. Patricia watched the display showing the approaching fleet. 400 warships. Enough firepower to reduce the surface to ash. In any normal conflict, New Wisconsin would be helpless. But this was not a normal conflict. Has the ambassador sent the signal? Patricia asked. 3 minutes ago. Standard phrase. Then we hold until they arrive. The Dominion fleet entered orbit 2 hours later. They did not wait for the deadline to expire. Fleet Admiral Garvos opened communications with a simple demand. Surrender immediately or face destruction. You have 30 minutes. Ambassador Nair responded calmly. We offered you 6 hours. You chose not to wait. We gave you coordinates for safe retreat. You ignored them. You are in no position to negotiate. We are not negotiating. The ambassador paused. We are giving you one final chance. Leave now. In 30 minutes, it will be too late. Garvos laughed. Too late for you, perhaps. Nair sighed. It was a tired sound, the sound of someone who had done this before. Admiral, I have a question for you. In all your years of conquest, have you ever wondered why certain regions of space remain empty? Why some civilizations seem to vanish without explanation? Why there are dead zones where no intelligent life exists? I do not care for your riddles. They are not riddles. They are warnings. The ambassador straightened. 30 minutes, Admiral. Use them wisely. She cut the transmission. Garvos ordered the bombardment to begin immediately. The first plasma torpedoes struck the planetary shields. The barriers held, but they would not hold forever. The Dominion had destroyed hundreds of worlds. They knew how to break defenses. In the underground shelters, human families waited. Parents held children. Elderly people told stories to keep the young ones calm. Refugee species who had survived Dominion invasion before shared their experiences, their fears, their hope that this time might be different. Above them, the shields began to fail. Section 7 down, Sam reported. Section 12 failing. We have maybe an hour before they can land troops. Patricia watched the destruction through remote cameras. Buildings burned. Fields of crops that had taken months to grow were reduced to ash in seconds. Everything they had built was being systematically destroyed, but the people were safe. The shelters were holding. And somewhere out there, beyond the range of Dominion sensors, help was coming. The shields collapsed completely after 47 minutes. Dominion landing craft descended through the smoke-filled atmosphere. Thousands of soldiers prepared to take the planet. They expected terrified civilians hiding in ruins. They found something else entirely. The first Dominion squad entered what appeared to be an abandoned settlement. They moved carefully through empty streets, weapons ready. Nothing moved. No one resisted. Then the ground opened. Human soldiers emerged from hidden positions with weapons that should not exist on a farming colony. They fought with terrifying coordination, moving like one organism with many bodies. They did not panic. They did not retreat. They simply killed. The first wave of Dominion troops fell in minutes. General Krestovic, commanding the ground invasion, watched the casualty reports with growing disbelief. His soldiers were elite warriors, veterans of dozens of planetary conquests. They were being slaughtered by farmers. How is this possible, he demanded. These are supposed to be civilians. His officers had no answer. 10,000 Dominion soldiers died in the first hour. New Wisconsin was not surrendering. New Wisconsin was fighting back, and in deep space, moving faster than any Dominion ship could track, 40 Terran warships raced toward the battle. Their commander, Fleet Commander Diana Webb, reviewed the tactical situation with cold eyes. The wolves were coming. The Dominion did not yet understand what that meant. They would learn. 3 words appeared on a screen deep inside Earth's military command center. Wolves are loose. Within 60 seconds, every Terran Defense Force base across 12 star systems received the same message. Within 5 minutes, the Rapid Response Fleet was mobilizing. Within 1 hour, they would be ready to jump. Fleet Commander Diana Webb read the tactical briefing as she walked to her ship. New Wisconsin under attack. Dominion fleet of 400 vessels. Planetary bombardment in progress. Ground invasion initiated. Standard scenario. She had handled 3 of these before. How many ships are we taking? Asked Chief Tactical Officer Arun Singh, matching her pace. 40. Against 400. That should be enough. They boarded the carrier Normandy, flagship of the Rapid Response Force. The ship hummed with energy as crew members rushed to their stations. In the hangar bays, fighter craft were being loaded. In the weapons bays, munitions were being armed. The Terran military operated on a simple philosophy. Build few ships. Make each one count. Diana reached the command center and took her seat. Around her, 40 warships reported ready for jump. Each vessel was smaller than a Dominion cruiser, but packed more firepower than an entire Dominion battle group. Jump coordinates locked, Arun reported. Travel time to New Wisconsin, 4 hours. Make it 3.5. Commander, that will push the drives past safety limits. Diana looked at him. Our people are dying. Push them. The fleet jumped in the strange dimension of faster-than-light travel. Diana had time to think. She reviewed the history files, as she always did before combat. The Dominion had existed for 3 centuries. They had conquered 2,000 worlds. They had enslaved billions of sentient beings. Humanity had watched them for most of that time. When humans first ventured into the galaxy, they found it full of predators. Species that conquered, enslaved, and destroyed. The strong dominated the weak. It was the natural order, everyone said. The way things had always been. Humanity disagreed. They could have built an empire. They had the technology. They had the resources. They had the will. But they looked at what empires did to both the conquered and the conquerors, and they chose a different path. 12 systems. Just 12. But those 12 systems were fortresses. Every planet was protected. Every citizen was trained. Every resource was devoted to one purpose. Ensuring that no one would ever threaten humanity or those under their protection. For 400 years, They had taken in refugees from galactic conflicts, survivors of Dominion conquest, escapees from other empires. Anyone who needed safety found it in Terran space, and anyone who threatened that safety found something else entirely. Diana remembered the Vorkan hegemony. They had been the dominant power in their region of space. They had ignored the warning buoys. They had attacked a Terran colony. They had killed 47,000 civilians before the response fleet arrived. The Vorkan hegemony no longer existed. Their homeworld was an asteroid field. Their species survived only as refugees in Terran space, protected by the same humans they had tried to destroy. That was the Terran way. Show mercy to those who surrendered. Show none to those who continued to harm innocents. Commander, Arun said, breaking her thoughts, receiving updates from New Wisconsin. Ground forces are engaged. Civilian casualties currently at 400 and rising. The Dominion is using heavy weapons on populated areas. Diana's expression hardened. Time to arrival? 2 hours, 47 minutes. Can they hold? The defense coordinator reports shelters are intact. Ground forces are causing significant enemy casualties. They can hold. Gunnery Sergeant Rosa Medina joined them in the command center. She commanded the ground forces element of the response fleet. Her job was to land on New Wisconsin and end the Dominion occupation. How bad is it down there? Rosa asked. Bad enough, Diana answered. The Dominion brought their standard invasion force, roughly 50,000 ground troops, against a farming colony. They expected no resistance. Rosa smiled grimly. Surprise. The hours passed slowly. Updates continued to arrive from New Wisconsin. The Dominion ground forces were taking horrific losses, but they kept advancing. They had numbers on their side. Eventually, numbers would win, unless something changed the equation. Dropping out of FTL in 30 seconds, Arun announced, all ships report ready for combat. Diana opened a fleet-wide channel. All vessels, this is Commander Webb. Standard doctrine applies. Protect the colony. Disable enemy ships when possible. Destroy them when necessary. No mercy for those who refuse surrender. She paused. They came to our space. They bombed our people. They were warned. They ignored the warning. Now they learn why. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly inside the Dominion formation. This should have been impossible. Every spacefaring civilization knew that FTL travel required distance from gravity wells. Ships could not jump into or out of combat zones. It was a fundamental law of physics. Humanity had rewritten that law 2 centuries ago. The Dominion had no time to react. One moment, their sensors showed empty space. The next moment, 40 Terran warships were among them, weapons already firing. Fleet Admiral Garvos watched in disbelief as his display lit up with destruction. 3 ships gone in the first second, 7 more in the second, 15 by the time he could form a coherent thought. All ships, defensive formation, he screamed. Return fire. Return fire. The Dominion fleet tried to respond. They outnumbered the Terrans 10 to 1. They should have won easily. They were wrong. The wolves had arrived, and they were hungry. 90 seconds. That was how long it took for the battle to become a massacre. Captain Dmitry Volkov commanded the destroyer Silent Thunder. His ship was designed for one purpose: killing enemy vessels as quickly as possible. Today, his crew performed their job with terrible efficiency. Target the command ships first, Dmitry ordered. Cut off their heads. Terran weapons fired in precise bursts. Each shot found its target. Each target died. The technology gap between human and Dominion vessels was not small. It was generational. The Dominion used plasma-based weapons that required seconds to charge and fire. The Terrans used kinetic accelerators that launched projectiles at nearly the speed of light. The Dominion relied on energy shields that could absorb plasma impacts. Terran weapons punched through those shields like they did not exist. Fleet Admiral Garvos watched his fleet disintegrate. 50 ships gone, then 100, then 200. His officers screamed reports that blurred together into meaningless noise. How is this possible? He whispered that Subcommander Yillis had no answer. She had warned him. She had suggested caution. He had called her a coward. Admiral, she said quietly, we need to retreat. Retreat. Garvos turned to her with wild eyes. We have 400 ships. They have 40. We had 400 ships. We now have 173. In 90 seconds, we lost more vessels than we lost in our last 10 campaigns combined. On the display, another Dominion cruiser exploded. 172. Yillis corrected. Commander Diana Webb watched the battle from the Normandy's command center. Her tactical officers tracked every enemy vessel, assigning targets, coordinating fire. The system worked with mechanical precision. Admiral Garvos's flagship is still active, Arun reported. Should we target it? Not yet. Leave him alive for now. He needs to survive long enough to carry a message. The destruction continued. Dominion ships tried to flee, but Terran vessels moved faster, hit harder, and never missed. Some Dominion captains attempted to surrender. Their transmissions were acknowledged, their ships spared. Those who kept fighting were not spared. On the surface of New Wisconsin, the battle shifted. General Krestovic had been trying to advance through human defenses for hours. His troops were exhausted, demoralized, dying in numbers he had never experienced. Then the Terran ground forces arrived. Gunnery Sergeant Rosa Medina led the first wave of reinforcements. Her soldiers dropped from orbit in armored pods, landing directly in the combat zone. They hit the ground fighting and never stopped. Dominion soldiers had been trained to break enemy morale through overwhelming force. They did not know how to handle an enemy with no morale to break. The humans did not flee when outnumbered. They did not panic when surrounded. They fought with cold, relentless determination. General, a Dominion officer reported, our eastern flank has collapsed. Western flank is under heavy assault. Central forces are surrounded. Tovik stared at his tactical display. He had landed 50,000 soldiers on this planet. 20,000 were already dead or wounded. The rest were being systematically destroyed. This is impossible, he said. They are farmers. Colonists. How can they fight like this? His communications officer approached nervously. General, we are receiving a transmission from the human commander. Put it through. Rosa Medina's face appeared on his screen. She was covered in dirt and blood, but her voice was calm. General Tovik, your fleet is being destroyed. Your ground forces are surrounded. You have two choices. Surrender now, and your surviving soldiers will be treated according to the laws of war. Continue fighting, and none of you will leave this planet alive. Tovik looked at his officers. Pride demanded that he refuse. Duty demanded that he fight to the last soldier. But he was not a fool. He could see the casualty reports. He could hear the screaming on his communications channels. I accept your terms, he said. My forces will stand down. Rosa nodded. Smart choice. Have your soldiers disarm and assemble at these coordinates. Any hostile action will result in immediate termination of surrender terms. The ground battle ended within an hour. 30,000 Dominion soldiers laid down their weapons and were taken prisoner. They expected torture, execution, the standard treatment they had given to their own captives for centuries. Instead, they received medical care, food, water, shelter. They did not understand that in orbit, Fleet Admiral Garvos refused to surrender. His flagship, the Unyielding Fury, was the last Dominion vessel still fighting. All around him, the wreckage of his fleet drifted in the darkness. Admiral, Yillis pleaded, we must surrender. The battle is lost. I am the commander of the 4th Expansion Fleet. I do not surrender. Commander Webb's voice came through the communications system. Admiral Garvos, your fleet is destroyed. Your ground forces have surrendered. You are alone. This is your final opportunity to survive. Why would you let me survive? Because we need you to deliver a message. Garvos was silent for a long moment. His ship was damaged. His weapons were depleted. His crew was dead or dying. Pride no longer mattered. What message? You will return to your empire. You will tell them what happened here. You will explain exactly what they face if they continue this war. Webb paused. And you will tell them they have 1 year to change. 1 year to release their slaves, abandon their conquests, and become something other than predators. If they refuse, we will not send 40 ships. We will send all of them. Garvos closed his eyes. He had served the Dominion for his entire life. He had believed it was invincible. I will deliver your message, he said. Good. Safe travels, Admiral. We hope your empire makes the right choice. We always hope. The Unyielding Fury limped away from the battlefield. Behind it, New Wisconsin began to heal. The wolves had protected their flock. Now they would wait to see if the Dominion would learn. History suggested they would not. The throne room of the Dominion Empire could hold 10,000 people. Today, It held exactly one. Fleet Admiral Garvos Hennick walked across the polished stone floor, his footsteps echoing in the vast empty space. The journey home had taken 3 weeks. 3 weeks of traveling through Dominion territory, answering questions from station commanders, explaining over and over again how 400 ships had become one. No one believed him. Emperor Vorith Hennick III sat on the crystal throne, watching his older brother approach. They had not spoken in 5 years. Vorith had never forgiven Garvos for being the better soldier. Garvos had never forgiven Vorith for being born second and inheriting the throne. "Brother," the emperor said, "I am told you lost my fleet." "I did not lose it. It was destroyed. By 40 ships." "Yes." Vorith laughed. It was a cold sound without any humor in it. 400 of our finest vessels, commanded by our most experienced admiral, defeated by 40 ships from a civilization of 12 systems. Do you expect me to believe this? I expect nothing. I was told to deliver a message. A message? The emperor leaned forward. What message could possibly matter after such a failure? Garvos pulled a data crystal from his pocket. The Terran commander gave me this. She said you needed to see it. High Advisor Malos, standing beside the throne, took the crystal and inserted it into the display system. Commander Diana Webb's face appeared, projected large enough to fill the far wall of the throne room. "Emperor Vorith Hennick III, Webb began. I am Fleet Commander Diana Webb of the Terran Republic. Your fleet entered our space without authorization. They ignored our warning buoys. They attacked our colony world. They killed 400 of our citizens." The Emperor's expression hardened. And now they are gone." Webb's voice remained calm, almost gentle. 400 warships. 50,000 ground troops. Your entire 4th expansion fleet, destroyed in less than 6 hours. She paused. "I want you to understand something important. We did not want this war. We never want war. For 400 years, humanity has existed among the stars. We could have built an empire larger than yours. We could have conquered half the galaxy. We chose not to." "Weakness," Vorith muttered. "No. Wisdom. We have seen what empires do. We have seen the suffering they cause. We have taken in your refugees, Emperor, the survivors of the worlds you conquered, the families you destroyed, the children you orphaned. They live among us now, and they have told us their stories." Webb's image shifted to show images. Destroyed cities, mass graves, slave markets, documentation of Dominion atrocities collected over 3 centuries. "We know what you are," Webb continued. "We have always known. We hoped you would change on your own. You did not. Now we are giving you a different kind of opportunity." The image changed again, showing coordinates in deep space. These are the coordinates of a dead system. Once, it was home to the Vorkan hegemony. They controlled 80 star systems. They had a fleet twice the size of yours. They ignored our warnings. They attacked our people. The image showed a field of asteroids where a planet should have been. This is all that remains of their homeworld. Their species survives only because we showed mercy to their civilians. But their empire, their military, their leadership, everything they built over 1,000 years, we erased it in 3 days. Emperor Vorith shifted uncomfortably on his throne. "You have 1 year," Webb said. 1 year to release every enslaved species in your territory. 1 year to withdraw from every world you have conquered. 1 year to dismantle your military and transform your civilization into something that does not prey on the weak. And if we refuse?" Webb's expression did not change. "If you refuse, we will not send 40 ships. We will send 4,000. We will not disable your fleet. We will erase your civilization from existence. Your species will survive only as refugees in our space, protected by the same humans you tried to destroy." The recording paused. "We do not want to do this. We hope you will make the right choice. We always hope." The image faded. Silence filled the throne room. Then Emperor Vorith began to laugh. "They threaten us. These humans with their 12 systems, their 40 ships, their peaceful ideals." He stood from his throne. "They destroyed 1 fleet. We will build 10 more. They speak of erasing civilizations? We have been doing exactly that for 300 years. Your Majesty," High Advisor Malos said carefully, "perhaps we should consider their offer. The technology they displayed, the speed of their response, the completeness of their victory. This is not an enemy to take lightly. You would have me surrender to threats?" Abandoned 2,000 years of Dominion history because some primitives destroyed a single fleet. I would have you survive. The Emperor turned to his brother. Garvos, you fought them. What do you think? Garvos had been waiting for this question. He had thought about nothing else during the journey home. I think they are telling the truth, he said. I saw their weapons. I saw their ships. I saw their soldiers fight. They could have destroyed us at any time in the last 4 centuries. They chose not to. They gave us warnings. They offered chances to retreat. They are not bluffing. Then you are a coward as well as a failure. The Emperor gestured to his guards. Take him to the detention center. He will face trial for losing my fleet. Garvos did not resist as the guards took his arms. He had done his duty. He had delivered the message. Now the choice belonged to his brother. As the guards led him away, Garvos heard the Emperor giving orders. Full military mobilization. Every shipyard working at maximum capacity. Every soldier called to service. The Dominion would not surrender. They would fight, and they would lose. Garvos knew this with absolute certainty. He had seen the human fleet in action. He had looked into Commander Webb's eyes. She had not been angry, had not been afraid, had not been uncertain. She had been sad. Sad because she knew what was coming. Sad because she had hoped for a different choice. Sad because she would have to destroy an entire civilization to protect the innocent. The humans did not want war, but they would finish one. 1 year passed. High Advisor Malaz stood alone in a dead system, looking at what remained of the Vorican hegemony. Her small scout ship drifted among the asteroids, sensors recording everything. She had come here secretly, against the Emperor's orders. She needed to see for herself. She needed to know if the Terran warning was real. It was. The asteroids around her had once been a planet. 9 billion Vorican had lived here. Now there was only dust and debris. Her sensors detected traces of what had been cities, oceans, mountains, all reduced to fragments no larger than her ship. This was not conquest. This was erasure. Malaz returned to the Dominion homeworld and tried one last time to convince Emperor Vorith. She showed him her recordings. She explained what she had seen. She begged him to accept the Terran terms. He had her arrested for treason. 3 days later, the Dominion fleet launched. 5,000 warships, the largest military force in the Empire's history, headed toward Earth. Emperor Vorith commanded the expedition personally from his flagship, the Eternal Victory. He was going to destroy the human homeworld. He was going to prove that no one threatened the Dominion and survived. The fleet never reached Earth. They met the Terran Defense Force in deep space, halfway between their territory and human territory. The Dominion sensors detected the enemy fleet, and Admiral Vorith smiled. Then the smile faded. "How many ships?" he demanded. "4,000, Your Majesty." The Emperor stared at his display. The humans had promised 4,000 ships if the Dominion refused their terms. He had not believed them. Now 4,000 warships formed a wall between his fleet and Earth. "We still outnumber them," he said. "Attack." The battle lasted 6 hours. It was not a fight. It was an execution. The Terran fleet moved with perfect coordination, thousands of ships acting as one organism. They did not waste shots. They did not make mistakes. They simply killed and killed and killed until there was nothing left to kill. Emperor Vorith died when his flagship exploded 3 hours into the battle. He never surrendered. He never asked for mercy. He went to his death still believing the Dominion was invincible. When the battle ended, not a single Dominion warship remained. 5,000 vessels, the entire military might of a 3-century empire, reduced to scattered debris. Admiral Chen Wei, commander of the Terran Defense Fleet, surveyed the wreckage with tired eyes. She had commanded the largest human military operation in history. She had won the greatest victory humanity had ever achieved. She felt no joy. The Terran fleet moved toward the Dominion homeworld. They arrived in orbit 3 days later. Billions of Dominion citizens looked up at the sky and waited for the end. Commander Diana Webb broadcast to the entire planet. "Citizens of the Dominion, your emperor is dead. Your military is destroyed. Your empire is over." Her voice was calm, measured, without anger. "But you are not our enemies. Your leaders made choices. Your soldiers followed orders. The people are not responsible for the crimes of their rulers." She paused. "We are not here to destroy you. We are here to offer you a choice. You can rebuild your civilization in peace. You can join the galactic community as equals, not conquerors. You can become something better than what you were. The broadcast continued. We will help you. We will provide food, medicine, technology. We will work alongside you to rebuild what was lost. But you must choose this path yourselves. No more empires. No more conquest. No more slavery. She paused again. Choose peace. Choose life. Choose a future your children can be proud of. The broadcast ended. Below, on the Dominion homeworld, citizens gathered in the streets. Some wept. Some raged. Some simply stood in silence, trying to understand how their invincible empire had fallen in a single day. In a detention cell, Garvos Hennick received word that his brother was dead. Guards came to release him. The new provisional government needed experienced leaders who understood what had happened. Garvos walked out of his cell and into a changed world. 10 years later, he stood on New Wisconsin. The colony had been rebuilt. New buildings stood where the bombardment had destroyed the old ones. Fields of crops stretched to the horizon. Children played in the streets, human children and alien children together. Governor Patricia Holloway met him at the spaceport. She was 73 now, gray-haired and slower than she had been, but her eyes were still sharp. "Welcome to New Wisconsin," she said. "I understand you helped negotiate the reconstruction treaties." "I did what I could." Garvos looked around at the peaceful scene. "Your people rebuilt quickly. We always do." They walked together through the colony. Garvos saw former Dominion soldiers working alongside human farmers. He saw a refugee species who had fled Dominion conquest now living freely under Terran protection. He saw a society that had every reason to hate his people, treating them with kindness. "I do not understand," he finally said. "We attacked you. We killed your citizens. Why do you help us rebuild?" Patricia stopped walking. She turned to face him. "Because destruction is easy. Building is hard. Conquest is simple. Cooperation is difficult. Any species with enough weapons can tear down a civilization. It takes something more to raise one up." She gestured at the world around them. 400 years ago, humanity looked at the galaxy and saw what empires created. War, slavery, suffering. We could have joined that cycle. We could have become the biggest predators in the galaxy. Instead, we chose to be gardeners. Gardeners. We tend what we have. We help others grow. We protect the weak from the strong. And when predators come to our garden, she shrugged, we remove them, but we do not become them. Garvos was silent for a long moment. "You could rule the galaxy," he said. "No one could stop you." "Yes, we could. We choose not to." Patricia smiled. "That is what makes us human." A year later, a new warning buoy was placed at the edge of Terran space. Its message had been updated. "You are approaching Terran protected space. If you come in peace, you are welcome. If you come as conquerors, you have been warned. We hope you choose peace." Somewhere in the galaxy, another empire was expanding. Another fleet was assembling. Another admiral was dreaming of conquest. And somewhere in Terran space, the wolves were watching, waiting, hoping they would not be needed again. They always hoped.